Back here on Busted Open, Dave LaGreca, Bully Ray.
Bastard.
I'm a big fan. By the way, we mentioned about, the possibility of if it's Charlotte and Becky at the end of the Rumble on Sunday and they can do something where both feet hit at the end and they both get, the pick or something along those lines. And we mentioned we saw that in the 94 Rumble, where both Lex and Bret Hart, their feet touched at the same time, both falling over the top rope. It happened in 05 as well with Cena and Batista. Vince McMahon came and restarted the match. So we kind of forgot about 05, but that happened in 05 as well. I'm saying that to save Alex, because Alex is getting bombarded by people calling in and saying, how could you guys forget Cena and Batista?
Because we have other things going on in our life and we don't remember what happened 10 years ago.
No, it's a bad job by me. I don't blame you.
Actually, it is a bad job by you. Horrible job, Dave.
It's a bad job by me.
Horrible job, Dave. Awful.
That's not for you to remember. That's for me to remember, Bully.
That's right. I have concussions.
No, it's not that. You were actually, working.
That's right, yeah. I was working, brother.
You were working and I was watching, so I should remember that. But yes, so it happened in 94 and it happened in 05. So there you go.
How do you feel about this? Let's say at the Rumble that it did come down to Charlotte and Becky and they both went over the top and they both hit at the same time. I don't know if I like that carrying over all the way until WrestleMania when there's two shows in the middle. I think logic would dictate that they would say, okay, the Rumble ended with both ladies' feet touching, but that now at the Elimination Chamber, they're going to have a one-on-one match to figure out who's going. There's too much middle ground in between for them to be able to figure out a definitive number one contender. It used to be whatever happened in the Rumble was the be-all and end-all leading into WrestleMania. Yeah. Now with these other two shows and the way, the speed at which they write their shows and how people are always looking for something different and new, I just don't know how they get away with that for an extra 2 months. What do you think?
Yeah, it makes it more difficult. They could do it in an interesting way. We've seen that before. We saw that with Elimination Chamber when Shawn Michaels came from underneath the chamber, if you remember, and super kicked Undertaker, and Chris Jericho won. There's ways you can make it creative that can lead to WrestleMania. It's just interesting in that, listen, as of we know right now, Becky's in a match with Asuka. We know that to be a fact. So as of right now, you're not expecting Becky to be in that Rumble. So I think it's a lot for us to presume that she's going to wind up there. Okay, because let me ask you this. Let's say they have a match and Becky wins. Then what do? Because now Becky's a SmackDown Women's Champion and Ronda's your Raw Women's Champion. And now what do you do in that scenario? Because and let's throw another monkey wrench in there. Charlotte wins the Rumble. So you have Charlotte as the winner of the Rumble, you have Ronda as the Raw Women's Champion, and you have Becky as the SmackDown Women's Champion.
I mean, it is pro wrestling. Creative license says that Charlotte says she wants both of them.
There you go. I think I like that better than any kind of wonky scenario where both feet touch or, Becky loses and then finds her way in the Rumble. I kind of like the scenario, Bully, that you just said. Becky wins the title. Now we know this now with the whole McMahon agenda that there's no automatic rematches. Or maybe even do have a rematch between Asuka and Becky at one of these two pay-per-views leading to WrestleMania. But you have Becky as the champion, you have Ronda as the champion, and Charlotte says, you know what, one's not good enough, I'm going after both.
If the women are going to main event WrestleMania, I just can't see one of those three women being left out. Based on what the people want to see, like you said earlier, the WWE darling is Ronda and Charlotte, and the people's darling is Becky. None of those three girls get left by the wayside. I think the only one that can get left by the wayside is Charlotte. If she did, she gets hurt the least because Charlotte is such Teflon. I think that there would be a massive uprising if Becky was not involved in that match. If it's Charlotte versus Ronda, I think the entire WWE universe is pissed off.
Can't do it. You can't do it.
Even though it's the better match.
Yes.
It's the better singles match. So how do you make everybody happy in this one and make it as big as possible? You have the 3 top women in the company fighting for the 2 women's championships.
All right, let me throw another curve. Because we know at Elimination Chamber they're having the match to declare who the first women's tag team champions are. And we know that these tag team champions are going to be on both brands. They're going to float. Could you have a possible match at WrestleMania for one women's champion that will float between both brands?
You mean unify the championship?
Yes.
I love the idea. I'm not a fan of all these split championships at all. That's just my own personal opinion. I think a champion should be on both shows.
So that could be a scenario. Since you're going to have the tag team champions float from both brands, why don't you have just one women's champion that floats from both brands? And that's a main event at WrestleMania. If you have Charlotte, Becky as champ, and Ronda as champ in a triple threat, and the winner is going to be the unified women's champion, that's a main event at WrestleMania 35.
Personally, I like the idea of having one women's champion. I just don't think the WWE is going to go for that. They have spent too much time building up these 2 separate women's champions. You know, they've built up time with the Universal Champion, the WWE Champion on the men's side. I think having the definitive Raw Champion, the definitive SmackDown Champion is something that the WWE is comfortable with. I like the floating champion. I think there should be one men's champion. I think there should be one women's champion. I think there should be one tag team, just one of everything, and have them float. You never know where they're going to be. They have to, it ups the work rate. It opens up the storylines. And plus, it's not like you have everybody else fighting for championships anyway. Create other good storylines for these other people.